We have local news when it comes to the Boston Marathon. The Boston Marathon is here. It's also the 10-year anniversary of the Boston Marathon bombing. Of course, that infamous events that happened and, lives lost and lives shattered forever. But we've bounced back, Boston strong. And there's this docuseries that has come out for the anniversary, right?
That's right. So available on Netflix right now. It's a three-part series called American Manhunt, the Boston Marathon story. This is the 10th anniversary, as you mentioned, of the 2013 marathon bombing. And I've seen bits and pieces of this docuseries so far with my husband, and just compelling stuff, absolutely fascinating. The creators of this docuseries have interviewed and spoken with all of the major players from the manhunt, from the police chiefs to the mayors to everyone that was involved in hunting down these suspects and what they struggled with. So, a major point of contention was whether or not they should release to the public, footage of these guys, whether they didn't want to flush them out and cause more violence, but they also wanted to catch them. They didn't want to. They didn't want them to get away. So it was a major point of contention of how to approach catching these guys. And eventually, footage of them was leaked to the press and online. And this was a week-long ordeal. I don't know if you remember, James.
Yeah,
but,
I wasn't here when it happened. I was back in California. Were you here at this point?
I was not here. I was in Washington, D.C. However, I was the morning news editor there. So I was working in news that whole week, and it was our top story, even in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
And I remember, being the morning editor on that Friday that they caught the Tsarnaev brothers, where the entire city just turned into this insane chase and shootout that was going, all over the city and into Watertown. And, the one brother goes down and the younger brother runs him over, and then he ends up in someone's backyard. And just when you get down to the nitty gritty details of everything that happened that day, it's even more amazing and incredible and violent than we know from what we were able to see on the news that day. The fact that hundreds and hundreds of rounds were shot, lots of bullets went into people's private homes, and not only was it law enforcement that was chasing these guys, it was private citizens that were able to come in. There was one person in particular who was a firearms instructor who just came out on his own and was able to flank one of the suspects and shoot him 9 times. And that was the sense that you got from that ordeal for that entire week. Was not only was this, the law enforcement, the FBI, the police, wanting to bring these guys down. It was the entire region. It was the entire country. It was all of Boston. They were not going to let this, they were not going to let these terrorists go. They messed with us, right? They messed with everyone. So it's really compelling stuff. You were saying?
Yeah, my wife, she was here. Of course, she's from the Boston area, and so when that was going down, she told me that everyone was locked down. It was kind of like a pre-pandemic kind of a thing where everybody is told stay at home, don't leave, don't roam around the streets, and everybody was glued to their TV. And when the breaking news of they were located, there was this chase, there was this shootout, there was this standoff. Like everybody was just glued to the TV. And then once the call came in that the last Tsarnaev brother was captured, then everyone was like, okay, well, time to go to bed, because people were just glued to their screens all day long, all week long, until this thing finally finished. And so this docuseries, you said a 3-part on Netflix, right? So you highly recommend it, it sounds like.
I highly recommend it, especially if you're here in the New England region and you lived through it. It's just incredible, the depth of detail that they go into, and all of the behind the scenes decision making, the heartbreaking decisions that needed to be made, and the additional lives that were lost of the MIT officer, and and the questions are there: did we do the right thing? And so it's really fascinating stuff, and I highly recommend you go check that out on Netflix right now. This is the weekend of the marathon. Tomorrow's Patriots Day. today, tomorrow, whenever you're watching this. It is Patriots Day, Marathon Monday, and that's a holiday in Massachusetts. So very timely, very, very timely stuff. So after you go down and you watch your favorite runners finish the marathon, head home and watch this docuseries.
All right, Boston strong. We're thinking of all the runners, all the people who were affected on that terrible day, and just hoping for the best and best turnout, because since then you just see Boston unite afterwards. So Boston strong.
Boston strong.